This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
Struggling to get out of bed? It might be time for an upgrade. Lisa makes exceptionally comfortable mattresses designed for every body and budget. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to giving back. Since 2015, they've donated over 41,000 mattresses nationwide. Elevate your sleep and your space with Lisa. Go to lisa.com for 20% off their award-winning mattresses, plus an extra $50 off with promo code IHEART. That's LEESA.com. Promo code IHEART for an extra $50 off.
Zuccarello with a loose puck. They'll carry along a few strides, feeding Boldy. Boldy weaving past a check. Darts in, Boldy right circle. Spun up, left it back. Zuccarello scores! Oh, Boldy set him up, and Zuccarello lasered it high ball. It's 3-0. Joe O'Donnell on the call, and you'll hear Joe this evening on KFAN. The other Joe Smith, is in Dallas. He's in Texas for Wild Stars. Please follow him via Twitter, at Joe Smith NHL. Covers the team for The Athletic. And here he is, Joe. Paul Allen, good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
Pretty well. Thanks for the time. How about this gauntlet, my man? At Dallas tonight, Vegas here tomorrow night, Ovechkin here Thursday. What do you think about all that with 12 games to play?
Well, as hard as it's been down the stretch here with the injuries, and they really kind of, had some gutsy wins, especially lately, they're still only 4 points ahead of St. Louis, who has won 6 straight. And so
right.
It's pretty crazy. And so I think this stretch, back-to-back Vegas and Dallas, and then Thursday Ovechkin, then they played Jersey twice in a home and home. Like, this is a really important stretch, not just making the playoffs, but the seeding-wise, too. They just got to hope that they can stay a little healthier here down the last few games before the playoffs. But yeah, this is last time I was here in Dallas was that overtime come from behind victory right for Christmas time. If you remember that one, I think they scored the OT winner.
I'm glad you mentioned St. Louis because with 12-ish to go for most, everybody in the West is so hot. I mean, right behind the Wild, the Blues have won 6 consecutive. Calgary's on the edge of elimination. It has won 3 in a row. The Kings haven't lost since losing here a week ago. It's kind of like who blinks first in the Wild West, right?
It is. It definitely is. And like I said, like the last 3 wins for the Wild. Imagine if they didn't win those 3 games. Imagine if they had like 3 points in those 3 games, where they'd be right now. So it just shows you how important. Gustafson's been playing terrific. The defense, especially getting Brodeen back, was huge for them. Finally, their top offensive players have started to score. Boldy and Rossi each getting off their droughts and scoring a goal the last couple of games. So you're right. I think the schedule plays a big role down the stretch now of who has the toughest one. And the Wild, after this week, will go for a week in New York as well. That'll be a tough one, too.
The squad is 1-1 with Dallas this season. Do you see the Stars as legit Cup contenders, and if so, why?
I do. They're just probably the deepest forward group up front for me, especially after the deadline moves and getting Rantanen. Overall, they just have size and speed and some veteran guys there. Heiskanen being out will hurt them, especially in the first round series. I think they said that he might miss the first round, which might be against the Avalanche, another kind of Cup contender. But I think there's a very overall deep, experienced team. They've kind of been through some playoff battles so far, and one of the best goalies, I think, around in Ottinger as well. So that makes them a real big spread, and probably somebody you don't want to see in the first round.
Is Jake Ottinger, is Lakeville's Ottinger considered truly one of the very best goalies in the NHL?
I mean, I don't know if he's like top three, but like I think he's in that consideration. If you're like you look at some of the playoff success he's had and how well he's played, I would. He seems like he's a money goalie to me. It seems like he's a guy I would want to kind of bet on in a big game. So there's some goalies out there that may not have the best stats course of a season or whatever, but I think he's a guy who you can see that I think has probably corner pressure when those moments happen.
Joe Smith of The Athletic in Dallas covering the Minnesota Wild against the Stars this evening on KFAN said Wild recalled Liam Ogren and defenseman Cameron Crotty for emergency conditions tonight. Pardon me with this, but who's Cameron Crotty and how good is he?
Yeah, he's a guy who played one NHL game in his career. He was drafted by the Arizona Coyotes and played 3-4 years in the AHL there and been in Iowa, one of the better defensemen this year. So I know the Wild fans, I don't know too much about him. They probably hope they don't see him tonight, so that means they'll be healthier. But yeah, he's the guy that has insurance policy, and in case a couple guys might be banged up or which is the story of the season pretty much. And
from an emergency condition standpoint, like what are they sweating tonight for Crotty and or Ogren?
Well, for Crotty, it's, that one or multiple guys can't go tonight because emergency conditions, you can only play if the guys that were, playing last game of regular starters can't go. So, and the Wild have seven D, so that means maybe more than one guy is having an issue, whether that's injury or illness or whatnot. So, and then Ogren's kind of similar situation up front. He did end up playing last week under emergency conditions when Johansson was sick and couldn't play.
Joe Smith, The Athletic, theathletic.com. How you mentioned it earlier with Brodin back against Buffalo Saturday matinee here. Jonas, how did he look in his first? It's his first game in a month. How did he look against Buffalo?
He looked good, I thought. Obviously, having missed so much time, it's hard to come back. But he's one of those rare players that he comes back, looks like he's, been playing for a long time. They just hope that he can kind of play well, and this doesn't resurface as an injury. When they announced the emergency call up, I first thought was Brodin. Maybe he didn't get through that game well after the last game because it was his first game back. So, but he really helps solidify the pairings. He helps make sure the favorite doesn't have to play 28, 29 minutes. He plays like 24 minutes instead, so he really stabilizes that top four, and you still need him in any kind of playoff situation. So it'd be better to be careful with him down the stretch so he's able to go. So
Joe, Wild, 8 clear of Calgary with 12 to play, 8 points clear. How safe are they to make the postseason, or do you find it still to be quite tenuous?
Well, I mean, I think they're in a really good spot considering how few games are left and how well they've been playing as of late. And it's hard to not just have one team, but two teams make the kind of run to overtake you. But I do not a lock and not set in stone and not go to Vegas and bet your house on it right now. But I think they're in a good position. The season that they had at the beginning of the year set them up to have a lot of points they could bank and deal with some lows during the season, which they've experienced. But this next week or 8 week under of a schedule is going to be really telling and important, especially if the St. Louis Blues keep on playing the way they're playing.
Any sense Kaprizov or Eriksson Ek return anytime soon?
Well, I think we've reported a few times. I think Bruce mentioned it on your show before that, I believe that could start seeing Kaprizov on the ice by the end of this week. On the 27th, 28th, my birthday range. So we'll look forward to seeing that happen. That's the next step in the progression for him. And obviously he needs a while after he starts skating to get back into game condition. Eriksson Ek is kind of a little more of an unknown, but you'd think he'd be more similar timeline. I think he was on the 6 to 8 weeks when he first went out, we were told initially. So, but yeah, those two guys are so important. And I think that if they can get on the ice in the next week, that would be really big, and them getting a few weeks ahead of the playoffs to get some practices or to get some workouts in before it goes.
Just a couple more here, Joe, from Dallas. Thank you very much for the time. What, with your trained eye, Bus, the goalie, what has impressed you with the goalie Gus of late?
He's just been so remarkably consistent, and he's been so, laser focused and just very calm in the net. Like, he doesn't make those big flashy saves. He doesn't really make a lot of big movements like maybe like Flower does, but he's in the right position. He's seeing through screens. He's been their best penalty killer as of late when the penalty kill has been doing much better. But, this is the Gustafsson you saw at the beginning of the year, Gustafsson you saw 2 years ago when he was a Vezina Trophy finalist caliber goalie. So if this is the Gus they're going to get down the stretch in the playoffs, it has to give Wild fans more confidence on not only making the playoffs, but giving them a better chance to winning a first-round series. So definitely great timing for him to have some of his best hockey of the season.
So, I know the Wild morning skate later, but how do you envision the goalie situation the next two? And I ask because Fleury hasn't played in 2 weeks, and Gus hasn't played back-to-back days all season. So, how do you see this shaking out?
Well, I would imagine even if Fleury hasn't played in a little while, that you split these up. You don't want to run Gus into the ground here with this, especially with 3 games in 4 days playing Thursday. So I think you probably give Gustafsson tonight and then Fleury tomorrow at home, and then probably Gus on Thursday against the Capitals. But I can't see them playing Gustafsson each of the next 3 games. I think they want to give Flower another start here. So I don't know if that's tonight or tomorrow, but if it were me, if I were John Hines, I'd probably would start Gustafsson today, and then tomorrow against Vegas have Fleury start.
How has Ryan Hartman looked to you since returning?
I think he's looked great. I think he's motivated. I think he's looked focused. I think he's clearly in great shape after the month-long workouts with Andy Ness and Matt Harder. He's winning a lot of key draws and at big times for them. He's pitching in scoring. So I think, it was a really kind of not a humbling, but kind of a wake-up call. Being suspended for 8 games, being away from the team, watching them struggle at times. And this is a crucial point in his career. He's a effective player when he's on his game, and you can see showing that the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it couldn't come at a better time for the Wild. But good for him on taking lessons from that and playing some really good hockey and contributing when they need him without Eric Sinek and Kuroka Kaprizov.
Lastly, I'm low-key a Zach Bogosian fan from afar. I just find nuance to his game when I watch that I really appreciate. So the closing question would be, how important is Bogosian to the mix? He's only missed 1 game, and despite just 11 assists, he's had a couple of sweet ones this week. What makes Bogosian important?
Well, and I also covered him in Tampa as well, part of the Cup team there. And he's one of those guys that a sneaky good skater too, but he's physical. He can kill plays down low. He's a good penalty killer. You mentioned there's some really good assists he's had recently in creating offensively, and I think he knows his role and plays his role pretty well. And you need some size in the back end. You need guys who can be physical in front and get guys out from screens and such like that. And he's a really fun guy in the dressing room, a really kind of a glue guy, a salt of the earth human being. And I think you need a lot of those guys over the course of a long season to get through some of the ups and downs. So I think Zach has been really appreciating this part of his career being in Minnesota and kind of extending his career here from his time in Tampa.
Stars of Vegas Golden Knights, both ballyhooed. So with a back-to-back with travel, what are realistic points-wise expectations here? I mean, you covered 4, ain't no doubt about that. Like, how many do you think the Wild will leave with over the next 2?
I think if you get 2 out of 4, I think that's a pretty good win there. Whether that's 2 overtimes or 1 win and 1 loss, obviously you want 4, but I think that if he gets 2 points in the next couple of days, I think that'll be, considering the schedule and the situation, I think that'd be a positive result for the Wild.
How's your child? How old's your child now? About a year?
9 months.
Yeah, it's a
9 months.
It's a boy, right?
Boy, yeah, Connor.
How's little man doing?
He's good. He's starting to crawl, and he's his personality is showing, and he's kind of learning new things every day, every little small development, like, is such a big deal. And, I thought last night on the road, I'd have a full night's of sleep for the first time in a while. And, I never had this happen to me before in my life. I'm a Marriott true guy. At 3 a.m, heard my door of my hotel room open. I thought I was going to be like, what the heck's going on? I was getting robbed.
Wow.
I pull into the hallway of my room. There's a maintenance guy with a thing, and it's like, I was told it was vacant. I'm like, it's sure as hell not vacant. And so it was like dark and all this other stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And so, eventually left, trying to like put in a modem somewhere or something like that. I'm like, who does maintenance at 3 a.m? So it's, wow. I don't know if Russo set it up or what, but probably one of the craziest on the road stories so far. So
it's either Russo or Lawrence Taylor. Old school football fans would know what I'm talking about there. I thought you were going to say 3 a.m., bang, 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 open the door. It was my wife with Connor. I'd be like, that's unbelievable.
That would have been a more happy wake-up call than this one. I was a lot grumpier in this particular case, and so I'll have to take a page from Russo's playbook and raise a little hell here.
Well, God bless you and your family. Thank you very much for the time. Enjoy the game tonight, and I'm sure we'll see each other soon, all right?
Sounds great. Anytime, PA. Good talking to you.
See you, man. Joe Smith, The Athletic, theathletic.com. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, that would be the story with the Minnesota Wild. What about
Gopher Nation
and the Frozen Four? Fargo go crazy. Motzko's Bunch is coming your way.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Struggling to get out of bed? It might be time for an upgrade. Lisa makes exceptionally comfortable mattresses designed for every body and budget. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to giving back. Since 2015, they've donated over 41,000 mattresses nationwide. Elevate your sleep in your space with Lisa. Go to lisa.com for 20% off their award-winning mattresses, plus an extra $50 off with promo code IHEART. That's LEESA.com. Promo code IHEART for an extra $50 off.
We'll be right back.
The Fan.
Yours truly started just riffing a little bit on a QB2 for the Minnesota Vikings. The part that I left out was, why I opted to talk about this now is actually thinking it out with the necessary evil conversation, really in the rearview mirror 2 Thursdays ago, but to service the public and appease the Nationals, it was a thick conversation 9 to noon. But nevertheless, now starting to think about a veteran backup to J.J. McCarthy. Last thing I said was, it just remember, why I'm beginning to believe this is more of an important conversation, and maybe the timing of the individual arriving here could be a little different than I thought, is because while loving J.J. McCarthy and believing in J.J. McCarthy, It's fact that the last time we saw him, he got hurt in a preseason game against the Raiders. And the situation was like nobody seems to know when he got hurt during the game and exactly how.
Yeah.
It just happened. And then the thing was long and arduous. And when you're getting beat writers or teams or reporters or whatever putting out so and so is gaining weight and getting up to like 200 pounds, whatever it is. I mean, that's an interesting nugget. You don't generally see that when it comes to players recovering from injuries. And McCarthy is, he's not Mahomes behemoth. He's not Lamar Jackson behemoth, but he's not like my guy running around for Colorado State yesterday at 5'11", 170, making these unbelievable backdoor cuts on these trees.
And Drew Brees running out there.
Right. So, it's fair to not necessarily wonder how far along he is. Is he 10 of 10? Is he 100%? I mean, that all will play itself out. The belief would be yes, or perhaps the necessary evil was taken more seriously. But the landing the plane here is the Vikings don't proceed, and really Nordo and I too. We don't proceed with fear. All right. Now it hashtag faith can take you to a certain level, to a certain extent. You can roll with that, but you can't in all situations. But fear, to the best of our ability, well, that needs to be a 0. So you don't proceed with fear of injury, riddling McCarthy under the cover of darkness. But that's how the past performances go. That's all we have. Ran one race, bowed a tendon, gone for the season. So it's good having such a well-respected and proven staff to ponder these scenarios. Because, like, a fair question is, how important is it for the backup to be here for the April organized team activities work? I mean, how important is that? I can't answer that. I'd imagine, Nordo touched on this earlier, and I wasn't thinking about this, but I would imagine family relocation would be involved for some. That's not preferred. That's not preferred for the families on 1-year deals, but nevertheless, they do it. Does that play into a timeline? And I said this last week, from the panicometer or lack thereof, just keep in mind the Minnesota Vikings signed Nick Mullins a few years ago in training camp, and he lasted here X amount of years.
Yeah.
So banding about the names and traits and timelines and scenarios, 9 to noon keeps coming back to Joe Flacco. Nordo and I keep coming back to Joe Flacco. And personally, I'm not tripping on the urgency or lack thereof, but can't imagine the process would be slowed by the guy joining the covenant for off-season work. So that's, when I was thinking about QB2, that's kind of the runway that gets us home.
Yeah.
Where from a timeline standpoint, hadn't really thought of it, get peppered on it a lot, started thinking about it. And then, yes, the preference would be to have veteran QB2 with Rippon and McCarthy in April. But if it doesn't work out that way, honestly, how mad are we going to get,
Yeah, and so you're bringing in this guy for what? Tutelage, veteran savvy, and kind of this in some ways maybe a hand-holding process moving forward as JJ is seemingly will undertake his first year as a starter. So He plays the one preseason game, gets hurt, gets banged up. Now he's gaining weight. And so hand holding and support would be the A topic for this backup.
Qualifications I listed an hour ago included, but were not limited to the player not pining to start, works well with McCarthy and the offensive staff, processes complication quickly and simplifies it, arm strength, and can play in a pinch.
Yeah, it's the way that I would mock Sean Mannion's Microsoft Surface work. That's similar to what we're looking at now. We're looking at a guy that, he's not, he has, in this case with Flacco, he's won a Super Bowl. He started a ton of games, but at this stage of his career, is he cool being a backup? And if he is, that's fantastic. I personally, it's certainly all things considered, already being here or coming here ready for OTAs. If he shows up midsummer, I'm not mad at any of that.
Right.
So the sweating of the QB2 now post Aaron Rodgers conversation, it really isn't a sweat for me. So I'm just looking forward to hearing who they bring in, and then that'll kind of tell the story of what they're looking at in the camp. But excited to hear the name for sure.
Flacco. Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe. How you doing?
How you doing?
Arm still good?
How you doing?
Want to play for the Covenant?
How you doing?
Hey, Bob Motzko.
How you doing?
You ready? To a tournament of a different variety. This is 9 to noon's cursory look at the NCAA college hockey Frozen Four brackets. The tournament begins Thursday. All super special, 16 of them, and the Gophers are in Fargo to start as a 2 seed, and are taking on UMass. So we get the Minutemen, Massachusetts. The winner gets the winner of Minnesota State Mankato and Western Michigan. Western Michigan is the top seed in the Fargo region and 4th seed overall. Boston College is the tournament's top seed. I found this to be interesting. Probably shouldn't find it to be interesting because it's not like everything has to be 10 of 10 all the time. Just 2 state of hockey schools in the dance.
Oh my God.
That's a kick in the old slogan.
Oh my God. Above average at that.
Yeah, St. Cloud, Duluth. You're expecting maybe
you're calling them out.
One of those 2 teams to be in it.
Go ahead and call Sandlin out and flash those rings at you.
I'm not calling Sandlin out in totality, but you want to see the Bulldogs in there. You want to see the Alex Staylocks going crazy.
The Beavers.
What about the Huskies? Go Huskies. So yeah, it's definitely jarring. St. Thomas can't even be in the tournament.
Damn.
Good season that they had and everything included there. So Minnesota lightly represented in 2025. State of hockey, though.
Yeah, it's really just 2 state of hockey schools in the NCAA tournament. It's an old kick in the slogan. Us and the Mavs. The Mavs and us.
Yeah.
Rough run this season for the old state of hockey. Or was it? We don't know. I mean, Duluth doesn't have to be top of the heap every single year, even though generally it is. Massachusetts owns 25% of the tournament. The state of Massachusetts owns 25% of the tournament.
Wow.
UMass, Boston College, Boston University, and them Terriers, and Bentley.
I always
Go
love
Falcons.
Something called Bentley from Waltham, Massachusetts.
Frozen Four bound.
What's Bentley? I mean, this is the Frozen Four. You come to the tournament supporting and or driving a Bentley, then you lose and it ends up being a Pinto. The state of Connecticut. That's another kick in the state of hockey slogan. State of Connecticut has as many teams as Minnesota, with UConn and something called Bentley. Oh no, not Bentley. There's another Quinnipiac. Yes, Quinnipiac. UConn and Quinnipiac, which won a championship 2 years ago, beating the Golden Gophers. Bob Motzko joins 9 to noon tomorrow. He coaches the Gophers hockey team to preview Fargo and his squad into this game against UMass. The Big Ten has 4 teams in the mix, including Michigan State, which is the tournament's 2 seed. Now, the Gophers last played UMass in 2022, beat said Minutemen 4-3. This was eye-opening for yours truly. And I'm sure somebody more adroit at navigating the interweb, the doom scrolling of it all, Nordo, could probably find this more quickly than me. But deeply rooted college hockey head-to-head results ain't the easiest thing to find.
I always love that one.
Gophers, UMass, all-time college hockey results. The Golden Gophers website went back to 2004. All right. Some other weird thing that I clicked on. What's up, P. Fox? Man, you're excited. Parker Fox is excited.
Yeah, he's pumped up.
Got nervous. You guys are lockstep right now with what's happening with Janai Broom. One of the 3 best college basketball players in the country joining 9 to noon, 25 minutes from now. Parker got here early. Nervous.
I always love that one.
Nervous. Janai's not going to respond to a text.
Hope the phone answers.
Hopefully the phone's not down.
Not a fax machine.
This is nervous energy right in front of me. Hey, you're the best, man. Thank you very much. All right, Parker at 11 o'clock with Auburn's Janai Broom. Can't wait. So I went to some all-time thing.
I just see they're 4-0 via the Gophers website.
Right.
But it only goes back to 02 or 04.
So I found one that went back to the mid-'80s. And the Gophers last played UMass in 2022, hung a nasty one on them, winning in Worcester 4-3. Deeply rooted college hockey results. I mean, it's kind of like finding the play-by-play for P. Fox's Northern days.
I always love that one.
In like 2017, it just ain't easy. But we are, I do know, the Golden Gophers hockey team, 5-0 versus the Minutemen, dating back around 40 years.
Okay.
Let's just keep that in context.
Yeah.
When we play this first game, is we're playing a team that hasn't beaten us in nearly a half century. But then again, we've only played them like 5 times.
You do know the last time then that the Gophers played UMass in the tournament, Gophers went to the Frozen Four.
Really?
I believe so.
Above average at that.
Or they would have, yes, they would have, I think, because that was the year that Hastings' team put a bad loss on Motzko. And horns down became horns up. They lose in the title game to Denver because all Denver does is just hang out in the mountains and wait for games that count.
Yeah. And win 10 national titles.
And just swoop in and just house everybody. Hockey East my butt.
See, I thought the THC lingered in bodies longer in states that have dispensaries, but it seems like all the fans get it all out of their system to support said Pioneers.
I know it's North Dakota. You can almost kind of consider them in the region. I got texters like in North Dakota's not in it. I think they just fired their head coach after a decade. Like people are bitter in the state of hockey region for their teams right now. It's just the Gophers and the Mavs.
Yeah. So I'm looking up these game logs and trying to figure out like which teams they've played of late that are of significance. And I clicked on the wrong link and got a chance to look at this.
Tourney able to regroup, then it's poked away by Burke, who takes over. Pushes it up ahead to McGregor. Holy Cross coming down with a 3-on-2. McGregor from the right side, centering feed.
Okay, sorry, Sky Yuma. The next link we clicked on ended up providing this.
Here's Tape outside the circle. Back to the captain, Leopold on net. A tip pull. They scored with Patoli wins it for Minnesota!
Hockey spiritual warfare right there. So
was that the Holy Cross goal?
Which one? This one?
The bad one?
Tourney able to regroup.
That one?
Yeah.
Oh, the thing's terrible.
Because you know who beat Holy Cross to win the Atlantic Hockey America Conference, don't you?
Who?
The Bentley Falcons. We are all Bentley Falcons fans.
Sorry, KFAN.
We are loving Connor Hasley and net. We are loving Ethan Lee with 40 points and 16 goals.
Waltham, Massachusetts, go crazy.
Bentley to the Frozen Four, upset Central.
Yep. So, these Minutemen haven't beaten a Golden Gophers hockey team in around 40 years. Puck drop Thursday night for this doozy from Shields Arena in Fargo, 7:30. Games on ESPN2. Mentioned earlier, Denver has won 2 of the last 3 Frozen Fours and 10 overall. The Pioneers are hockey immortality and are the 3 seed in the Manchester, New Hampshire region. So Bob Motzko joins 9 to noon tomorrow. Around the corner, News du Nord. Special guest Parker Fox jumps in if he's so inclined. Then about 20 minutes from now, P. Fox, a card-carrying member of the Love Covenant and KFAN and the Hootie Who Covenant. But also, somehow he fell into a working cell phone number for one of the best college basketball players in the country, Janai Broom from Auburn, which very well could win the entire thing. And Broom is going to join Parker and yours truly about 20 minutes from now on.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Struggling to get out of bed? It might be time for an upgrade. Lisa makes exceptionally comfortable mattresses designed for every body and budget. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to giving back. Since 2015, they've donated over 41,000 mattresses nationwide. Elevate your sleep and your space with Lisa. Go to lisa.com for 20% off their award-winning mattresses, plus an extra $50 off with promo code IHEART. That's LEESA.com. Promo code IHEART for an extra $50 off.
KFAN.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. News du Nord is brought to you by The Casino at Canterbury Park. CanterburyPark.com for all event details. They have cool stuff happening all year long, but every day, every hour, you can feel the felt. Poker, blackjack, and table games. Live racing kicking off about a month and a half from now, middle of May. So looking forward to that. And
sorry, that's my fault.
And so CanterburyPark.com is the spot to go. We will start out with news, and the you just heard his voice there, Parker Fox. He's in studio, and he's going to be somebody we might want some opinions on in regards to this. Over the last 20 minutes, I've seen X kind of popping up with a bunch of reports. Our guy from the Star Tribune, Marcus Fuller, I believe, has a story on it, StarTribune.com. But the Minnesota Golden Gophers basketball team may have pegged Niko Medved as their next head coach. Gophers basketball, Minnesota alum, born in Minneapolis, I believe, has coached Furman. He was an assistant here under Dan Munson, the 06-07 era, and then Colorado State as an assistant. Well, fast forward some time at Furman and Drake. He's been the head coach at Colorado State since 2018. Colorado State, the Rams, by the way, just dispatched in the NCAA tournament. And it sounds like via reports that Mark Coyle has tabbed Mr. Medved as the new coach of the Gophers hoop squad.
Pete Fox, first and foremost. Derek, Maryland, big guy. Derek who?
Derek Queen.
Queen, thank you. I was forgetting his last name. Okay, he traveled. And there's not a ref this side of Earl Strom who's going to call that travel at that stage of the game, and that's a fair portion of the equation. However, Medved's team was on the wrong side of it. I watched that entire game. I mean, my guy, the 5'11", 170 guy with the backdoor cuts. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me with that kid's speed?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Medved. I think he might have gone to Roseville High School or something.
He did, yes.
It's what I was first time I've watched Colorado State. What he got out of all of that different band of humanity that he had on his team, including the one guy, who had been there all 4 years, who kept hitting big shots in a day of the portal and NIL and stuff like that. Going against this freshman big who's going straight to the NBA, who's legitimately good, Derek Queen.
Lottery pick.
Right. It's I'm playing catch up here on the Medved bandwagon, but it seems to me like one calling card had to be pulling the most out of what you have, right?
Oh, he completely juiced that orange till it didn't have any more drops. Like, you can tell that team, they had a lot of really good pieces. Now, don't get me wrong, Nick Clifford on Colorado State, he's an NBA level player. So
right.
It's not like Nico didn't have talent over there.
I got you.
He had talent over there, but you're right. You look at Bowen Bjorn, he's another Minnesota connection, played with Taylor's brother Nate at the University of Northern Iowa last year before transferring to Colorado State. But that's a Colorado State State team that went toe-to-toe with a really, really good Maryland team. A team that I thought could have won the Big Ten this past year. Just a super talented Maryland team from 1 through 5. They call themselves the Crab Five up there in Maryland.
I just heard that yesterday. It's the bomb.
Which is a pretty sweet one.
Well, but here's why it's sweet, is growing up in the Maryland, D.C. area.
Yes.
For 50, 60, 70 years, it's because I ask people I meet from there still is a bumper sticker. It's red and white. I remember when I lived there in the 70s, we had one. We had one on the station wagon.
Yep.
Maryland is for crabs. Virginia is for lovers. And so that bumper sticker's been around forever. Thus, Crab 5.
Oh, it's sweet. Yeah, and you look at that 5, Julian Reese, brother of Angel Reese, Derek Queen, who's going to be a lottery pick, Gillespie. They got guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Maryland can do. But you're right. There was a lot of Twitter refs last night going over that play by Derek Queen. If you look at it, you see 3 steps.
Hey, walk.
Some people can argue too, but I see 3.
Calling that.
But you're right. No ref is calling that down the stretch, and the freshman made a big shot. And I don't know if you saw the interview post game, but Kevin Willard asked his guys who wants the shot, and Derek Queen, as a 17, 18-year-old freshman, said, "Give me the rock," and he went and scored it. And I don't know if you saw it, but after he scored, they asked him, "How'd he score?" He said, "I'm from Baltimore."
Right.
That's why I scored that thing.
No, it was something about toughness. And he's like, "Well, I'm from Baltimore." That could end the conversation right there.
Yeah, that's PA stand up.
And then he was like, the coach said, Derek jumped up and said, "Give me the MF ball.
Give me that thing."
And they ran that play. Now we got 3.7 seconds left. Mm-hmm. I mean, clocking the head, composure, because he put it on the ground.
Yeah.
Never panicked. And that sweet little bank shot, man, that was all about.
Well, a guy his size too, going on 7 foot, to be able to handle that thing against a really good perimeter defender, and Ethan Morton, former Purdue transfer, a guy that plays defense at extremely high level.
Perfect defense.
And just think of it as a ghost, and he just goes up and kisses it off the glass. And he knew it was in as he released it too. Just that level of talent. But no, I think you saw the fight out of that Colorado State team last night, and that was one hell of a basketball game.
The con.
So as a player here now, so relevant is your insight, given you were with the team like a week ago, and you've spent a number of years there, and getting to know Richard Pitino, I believe, end of his tenure, and then working with Ben Johnson the last several years. What are things that, if you're Niko Medved, that you're excited about? And maybe what do you think is on his list in terms of this is a bridge that I got to cross when I come to Minnesota?
Yeah, I think the first thing you think of if you're Niko is how awesome of an opportunity is this. I get to come home to where I'm from. I think Roseville High School, which is 10 minutes down the road from campus. Niko was on the staff prior as an assistant coach. So just an awesome opportunity for Niko to come and be the head, to run the ship. I think if you look at a guy that's had the experience that Niko's had, he won 10 straight games going into that Maryland game, had his guys on a heater. But I think at the end of the day, the most exciting thing is to come back home and to do this. Wearing Minnesota across your chest, something I prided myself on as well. And then, fast forwarding into making this thing competitive, making a competitive team is the transfer portal. And that opens up on Monday. So you're going to see a lot of action in a lot of different places. But I know Niko and whatever staff he has is going to really hit that portal hard on Monday. And hopefully, the staff and everybody's behind him and forming as good of a roster as you possibly can moving forward.
Parker, Colorado State. That's the Fort Collins one, right?
Fort Collins, beautiful.
Yep. Well, that's another thing. Yeah, I mean, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I was there for 2 days, and I couldn't wait to get out. But with that said,
they have some cool Civil War era bits there.
Well, yeah, they got a lot of interesting things the farther you get up there by Wyoming. But the point being here is NIL. Okay, I mean, unless you're juiced into like all the Mormon bookstores and the secret handshakes.
I always love that one.
I don't see where the NIL's coming from in Fort Collins.
You're right.
So, like, if that's a problem or a thing here, Holy cow. I mean, I don't know what these players are getting NIL-wise for Colorado State, including my guy. I can't remember his name. First name might be Derek, 5'11", 170, backdoor cut at the foul line.
Bourne, baby. Bjorn Bourne.
That's him?
Bourne, baby, yeah.
How fast is he?
Ooh, he's quick.
You talk about setting up a backdoor cut that you're only going to get one time.
Once.
Because they've watched him on film, maybe.
Yeah.
They've watched him on TV, maybe. They have no idea how fast he is in person.
Yeah.
When they set that backdoor cut up in the first half, and he stepped right and then took off down the key, my man for Maryland, who's good, had no idea.
No clue.
What was happening.
Said Norwalk, Iowa, stand up, baby.
Hey, if TJ McConnell can get 13 dimes on a nightly basis for Indiana,
perfect call.
There's room for Bourne.
But from an NIL standpoint, I'd want somebody like this who's had to scratch and survive and scrape together whatever he can get to pay these kids so they're not always jumping.
Well, it's the biggest part of the equation now. And we saw it, in my tenure with former teammates that left for more money. It's the biggest part of the equation. And it's something that obviously needs to be answered. And we have revenue sharing, becoming a factor here in the 25-26 season. But that's not the problem solver, right? Because everybody's going to get revenue sharing. So that's
new?
That's new. Yeah. This year we're going to have revenue sharing. I don't know if you're aware, or if the listeners are aware, but there's a pot of I think it's $20.5 million that can be fully funded. And, you'll have that to split between your five highest, sports. So I think Georgia.
You mean within the university?
Within the university. Yes. Within the university. So I think Georgia was the first to announce, where they're going with their kind of percentages. And I think Georgia ended up putting 80 or 85% into football. Of that $20.5 million. So here at the U, you obviously have hockey. So you're going to, talk about men's and women's hockey. You're going to talk about men's and women's basketball. You're going to talk about volleyball, and you're going to talk about football. So those are going to be your revenue sharing paid sports. And then the university can decide where they want to split the percentages kind of down and split that pot up. So I think that's something that's going to be important. But then also Medved being a Minnesota guy, what connections do you have to the community? What connections do you have to some of these Fortune 500 companies? Richard Pitino talked about it with Barrero last week about how important it is to get everybody on board when it comes to supporting not only Gopher athletics but Gopher basketball. And if people want to see it at a place that it was and at a place that it can be, it's a dollar amount that it really needs to kind of change and come into fruition for these athletes.
Niko Medved, formerly of Colorado State, new coach of the Golden Gophers basketball team.
Yeah, a few things to wrap up. I know we're going to talk about the Wolves starting at least sometime in the final hour with Parker in studio. So I will hit on the hockey team. The Minnesota Wild, winners of 3 straight, outscoring their opponents, I believe 11-2 over that stretch. So you're getting a ton of Gus buzz. Zuccarello's finding the net on a regular basis. Boldy got off the schneid early in the week against the Kings. So you're loving all of that. Well, here comes Dallas. The Minnesota Wild are at the Dallas Stars this evening, 7 p.m.-ish. Puck drop right here on your home for Wild Hockey, the fans. As far as the Minnesota Wild go, they are currently 8 points clear from a playoff situation with the Calgary Flames. So you're kind of starting to scoreboard watch here. Calgary, they're hosting the Cruddy Kraken tomorrow. The Wild are 9 points clear of Vancouver. They're hoping they have trouble. Vancouver, they're on the East Coast run. They got the Devils, Isles, and Blue Jackets on the road. Winnipeg, part of that mix coming up too. Some Zev Boyum steam potentially once Denver's run ends in the NCAA hockey tournament. Would Zev be joining the Minnesota Wild? But podcastable for sure after the show. Joe Smith joined PA from Dallas, not only to update, where's Kirill at? Where's Joel Eriksson Ek at? How's his team? And where are they at after the 3-win home stretch? Looking forward to this one against Dallas tonight.
Janai Broom is one of the very best players in all of college basketball, and he's the best player for the best team, the Auburn Tigers. Parker Fox knows Janai, and they put together a segment where Broom's going to join 9 to noon around the corner, talk about myriad things, including his adoration for the Minnesota Vikings. Janai Broom of the Auburn Tigers joins P. Fox and yours truly when 9 to noon continues on KFAN.
Some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer. the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
Struggling to get out of bed? It might be time for an upgrade. Lisa makes exceptionally comfortable mattresses designed for every body and budget. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to giving back. Since 2015, they've donated over 41,000 mattresses nationwide. Elevate your sleep in your space with Lisa. Go to lisa.com for 20% off their award-winning mattresses, plus an extra $50 off with promo code IHEART. That's LEESA.com. Promo code IHEART for an extra $50 off.